with the mission to keep as many men on as many guns for as long as possible. We call him Doc. Welcome to Combat Vet Vision. And now your host, Aaron Chief Seaver.
How's everybody doing? Hey, welcome to Combat Vet Vision. This is a place where I get to talk about, obviously, combat veteran type stuff. My story being a combat vet, 3 times to Iraq, blown up in 2006. Took over 100 pieces of shrapnel, came back, was Wounded Warrior Battalion West Command Chief. Had a lot of really awesome experiences and nonprofit organizational support. And hey, meeting a lot of guys and really stepping out of that and still doing exactly what I did when I was in, helping take care of combat vets. That's really the biggest thing, and veterans in general. But I got Mike Amato back. Mike Amato, he's been on here a lot of times, creating chaos, politics. I'm out. And today we're going to talk about the community, support from your community and how that looks and just having that circle of community support. So we're going to get into that. Mike, hey, thanks a lot for being on. United States Army vet.
What's going on?
I always think that you're in Virginia. I always say Virginia, but that's always wrong.
Yeah, I'm in East Tennessee for the billionth
East Tennessee.
I mean, it is what it is on that. But yeah, let's get into it, man.
Yeah, so even though I say that, I'm like, I know it's wrong, but that's how I think of you for some reason. So I apologize.
You and my brother think I still, and my brother said he's worse than you. He says I'm in West Virginia. I never lived there.
at least you crossed the border into Virginia from Tennessee there.
Yeah, I guess. Oh hell.
Hey, so it's good to have you back. I know this is something that we want to talk about because a lot of people know your story kind of, but there's a lot of things to that and to my story, to everybody's story. And we would talk about veterans and how they kind of keep that community support, how do they get involved in it, and how do they do it. We first talk about having a battle buddy for one.
Yeah.
And
well, traits, and circles, like, so when you're dealing with your individual self, right, and here you are struggling with a situation, it might not be PTSD, it could be depression, could be your whatever brought on depression, could be something not within you, but a situation and within your life that you have to deal with, bring on severe depression. A lot of the times it takes having a great circle. But see, Robin Williams had a great circle of people, and he had tens of millions of people around the world, probably billions of people, that would have answered the phone for Robin Williams and said, dude, come on in my house. Here's a beer. Here's a joint of weed. Let's talk it out. But I mean, sometimes you don't make those decisions, and it's really good to have a circle that is tailored to you. If an individual thinks that, well, you're using that person, there's no way through life you're going to get through life if you're not using other people. You have to use other people to get where you need to go, period. It's just whether or not you're taking and not putting back what you're taking. You don't want to pull from people their energy and leave them sitting there on the side of the road, not knowing how they're going to feed themselves tomorrow because they mentally are still dealing with whatever they had to deal with for you.
Yeah, that's a awesome piece, because in your desire to kind of improve yourself, and let's get down to the bottom piece of you maybe isolating in some sort of confined spot, horrid with your thoughts going through your head and just kind of trying to figure out what you're going to do, and those thoughts just keep tumbling and tumbling and tumbling because they don't have any kind of outward pressures or changes or dynamics from other people's inputs or from this and that. You got to be open. If you're going to be in that place, you have to be open enough to say, hey, I'm willing to listen to someone else. Maybe it means absolutely nothing to you, but at least take it as hey, it's great that person has the ability to open up and talk about something. It may or may not mean anything to you at the time, or it may have some impactful moment where you're able to put some puzzle pieces together and move out of some hole that you're trying to get out of or something like that. And that's a good start, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you've got to start somewhere, everybody kind of already naturally, I mean, this is nature we're talking about. This essentially stoicism we're talking about here. We as people will always create a circle and a pattern. That is how us as infantrymen hunt and find people. We know for a fact all humans create patterns. Once we learn their pattern, we will find them. It's just a matter of time. All we need to know is your pattern. So, I mean, nobody can hide. We don't need digital technology. I could be on a fucking horse. I can find you, but I mean, when it comes down to it and your circle and how that works for you in your life, you need to be able to look inside your friends and go, are they benefiting from me? And am I benefiting from them? Are they there for real reasons? When I came home from mentor leave in Afghanistan, never had this much money, had over $15,000 sitting in my account, never stared at that much. I mean, the most I think I ever held in my hand was $100 bill. I went from, a kid to the Army holding a rifle in Afghanistan. I mean, that was it. And when I came home on mentor leave, I decided to throw a little party. And that party was getting in this limousine. Well, I invited my so-called friends. Only one person was a real friend. And I'm still friends with her today. Never hit on her, nothing. That woman was a friend. I said to every single person there, because they were going to charge me $1,500 cleaning fee to clean the limousine, and all my friends were picked up in a trailer park. All right. So I'm over here picking a bunch of trailer trash kids up to go hang out and have a moment, and they've all got dirty shoes. So we go to Foot Locker. I give everybody $100. Say, go get yourself a new pair of shoes, but I want your old ones. I walked out there with a stack. Now, was I righteous in that moment? Yes. But none of those people cared about me. They only saw the limousine. They only saw the money being thrown around. It wasn't about me. That one person was the only person who was sitting there telling him, I don't want to waste his money. He's running on his passions. And that's what happens when you are stuck in a direction that you don't want to go in. And you run out of options. You're going to result to anger. Let me be the first one to say most of this hair on my face comes from anger. Let me tell you, every morning I wake up and I sip caffeine, and then I smoke some nicotine, and then I run on hate all fucking day, right? I mean, that is what we are as combat men. We know this, we understand it. And as our group as a whole, when we're working on these things, we got to look in our circle constantly. That doesn't mean some of those people you don't love them, but they might not be giving you what you need, and they might be holding you back. I've sat down with close friends that will literally jump on a bomb for me and tell them, you have to leave my life.
Yeah. And when you're creating this community and you're trying to get that support, it's important that you don't just rely on one piece. Oh, I found the best thing ever, water with ice.
Yeah. With a little bit of lemon,
Yeah. See, but until you add that lemon, you don't know. You don't know what you don't know until you add that lemon, right? So it's important that you might reach out to other guys. Don't just think that this is the best thing. Isolate yourself in that and say, hey, nothing else matters. I don't need any other help or input or any other resources. And we may not. In all reality, there's lots of resources that we pass up. I mean, I can't grab a hold of all the resources that come to me and say, hey, come to this event, come to that event, come to this, come to that. And there's just so much of that, right? It's overwhelming, the amount of data for that. Hey, we want to help you. But that's not what we always need. We need the help and the path that's going to be good for us, because we can always deviate from that. But sometimes deviating from that path is hurting you in the long run, because now you're off that original path that was already a great path for you, and you might be sideswiping yourself. So you got to ask yourself, what what pieces do I need? Pace yourself. Don't just get frazzled and, hey, I'm just going to take it all in. Next week I got to get off this plane to fly another plane to that.
I mean, when you sit there in your head and you're alone, just think about how many things you're utilizing to keep you distracted. When was the last time you were truly bored as a human being? I mean, this is all humans. I don't care if you're broke or not. I mean, I've been dirt poor and I still had plenty of things to do. Okay. The distractions sometimes keep you from yourself and won't allow you to handle your issues and your problems within yourself, because you are now focused on that dopamine rush, as scientists like to say, and in my church, we like to just go old school and say that's a demon pulling you over this way. But it all means the same thing. Don't let anybody coerce your mind or any person with power hold it over you, because one day you'll meet God, if you believe in him, and he'll look down right at you and say, it doesn't matter about the virtue being convenient or not. You should have chosen. Right. So if we are, as men and as warriors, want to be a warrior in a garden, we have to learn how to be gentle. Okay. So for all you tough, hard ass men, sit there and think that you're past all this. Nah, man, I don't care. Like, we're supposed to be gentle to everybody. I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a farmer in a war, dude. I mean, I don't want to be that guy holding a pitchfork going, how do we use a 50 cal?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know?
And Mike, I know we got like 6 things that we want to topics that we kind of want to focus on this. And before we go to the next topic, let me just I just wanted to put some input into that one. You know what? But I forgot my idea, man. I forgot my,
That's all right.
train of thought.
When it comes back, we'll throw it in there and maybe throw a clip later on the live. Welcome to a live podcast where we push this on you faithfully and truthfully from our heart. Everybody else is edited and scripted. We're not, including the Joe Rogan show. They're somewhat scripted. So, but burning bridges.
That is true. That is true. Burning bridges.
All right. So when it comes down to, like I said, if you have people in your circle that probably shouldn't be there, you might want to leave that circle. You might want to have to be alone. I mean, I'm a Kerr. He stands low, baby. We don't care. I'll be the last dude in the room. I'll be the only dude in the room. I'll still.
Hey, Mike, let me just throw this out there. You know, I know the advertisement was there, but it should have never been. Army of one. You're never by yourself. There's always a team. And Army of one has never worked out for anybody.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You know,
for Rambo.
The
Rambo, it worked out for.
Ended pretty smart.
It worked out for Rambo.
You ain't gonna take my jump boots off my uniform. So when it comes down to it, though, we as people, we have to push ourselves, and our pride sometimes will hold us back. So sometimes we need to burn that bridge. Sometimes we have a person who's clinging onto us. We got to shun them. Shame was for a reason. Now that is a valve and a faucet you can turn off whenever the hell you want. All right. As a man, sometimes we have to think stoically constantly. The more we do, the better we become. Okay. The good and the bad is in both of us. I mean, I'm no more righteous than Aaron, and Aaron's no more righteous than me. But if you put a couple beers in me, you might hear a lot less social filters than what Aaron might say. You know, because I'm the guy who doesn't care anymore. My bullshit stopped right here. And you have to stop it. You have to move yourself forward into a different position. And sometimes burning those bridges are good, but don't burn those that might not fully agree. Because they might be an asset you can utilize later. You have to remember your family comes first. They're the ones who created you. I didn't create you. You can listen to me every day. I won't make you perfect. It's you in the mirror and the words from all the other men around you and women.
Yeah, and in regards to that burning the bridge too, it's important that you take yourself in, and we're going to talk about that too. That self-reflection, that inner, am I willing to go down this path of help and support that is a good place? But if you're drinking and you're like doing things that are like totally ramming yourself, that you're burning this bridge without even knowing that you're doing it, because you're not in a place where you're taking care of yourself. You're not in a place that says, hey, this is the kind of help I need. You can really, because these places can't carry you through. They're a hand up, not a hand out all the time. Some are a hand out, hey, we're here to help you no matter what. But some are like, hey, we have missions. We're doing things that are healthy and need to be in a healthy environment. You come in there in an unhealthy state, you're kind of like knocking yourself out of the ring before you even start the fight. So it's imperative that you kind of get yourself where you need to go. If you need to go to a detox prior to doing some of these other things. And Mike, I just want to say, I know we only have about 15 more minutes because I got a meeting at 12:30, but I know this usually I have 45 minutes or so.
Well,
we had to start this one late.
Let's go quick then, since I'm being sped up. I'll grab my paper. All right. So humble yourself. You need to really humble yourself as an individual constantly. I'm always fighting these battles. It's almost like this is my therapy when I get on here with Aaron, because sometimes a lot of the things we're talking about, we might be able to tell a person, but it's actually harder to act on it. And one thing I have an issue with in life is being a fucking hypocrite. I don't like being one. Ignorance is blissful to some, painful to others. Remember me last time when I spoke about groundbreaking foundation rules. Once you have those set and your circle is set, you can build whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for $1 billion, you can get it. All right. I can float you 110 ideas on how to start a company. I mean, that's easy. It's the legwork that matters. It's individual pressure and the pain and the things going wrong, and you choosing courage over fear and over your pride. You have to do that. Now, self-reflection. Now, when it comes down to self-reflection, you always are supposed to be reflecting back on yourself, just like how we said about humbling yourself. Every morning you should wake up and ask what the heck you're doing anyways awake. Do you even know what you're doing? Or are you running on autopilot? You should ask yourself if whether or not you're truly in control of yourself. If you don't use your brain will use you. That's just nature. Everything I say, you can science back and check. I've learned it on my own. But these ideas come from me and Aaron, and these are our views. I hope that you all understand and work on yourselves daily. The only way we get ourselves to a more peaceful nation, not a warmongering nation like we are, and a more God-loving place where most of us wish to be, or atheists like to say, a peaceful place. Doesn't matter. Let's get there by being kind to one another. I've said that on almost every single podcast I've ever been on. You need to be kind. We need to be working on ourselves. Stop being such a little non-binary. I'm over here. I'm this separate new thing. No, you're not. You're not new. You're human. And whatever you're thinking, another human has thought of prior to you being here today. We are all dealing with old issues. Just sadly, we don't have our elders standing there giving us the answer. We might have the Google, the new device from iPhone, but it doesn't matter. We have to do it. We have to reflect on ourselves. An addict will stay a drug addict if he doesn't wake up. A PTSD'd out veteran will be standing on the corner begging you for change to go get high and forget about his PTSD just for a moment so he can sleep. But that's because he is still being a coward. We need to call it out for what it is. If you're running away, you're being a coward. If you're the person fighting it, then you're the one with courage and you're the hero in the room. We need more heroes. In this day and age, in this time, with the world still dealing with crazy terrorism and still dealing with all these wars breaking out, the good still is there. It's just harder to notice. And that brings more stress in our souls. And all we need to do is grow from that. Thank you very much.
That's good stuff. And he talked about, humbling yourself, self-reflection, all these things that are super important. And I want to emphasize that. And he also talked about being a coward from running from your PTSD and not really being engaged. And the reason those things are super important is because you might be living in an environment, in a situation where you've overwhelmed yourself and you are stuck in a position where you have to feel like you have no way out. And then it leads to the suicide. If you're humbling yourself, you're dropping yourself down a little bit to just kind of soak everything in, which may require you to move from another place, because maybe you can't afford to live in California or be in California because whatever. And that environment in itself is a stressful environment because gas is expensive. It's crazy. Taxes are the highest in the nation. You name it. There's a lot of different things there's all these outside things that pile up on you. So if you humble yourself from having to deal with those piles by moving somewhere else, it may relieve a lot of that stress. Then you could focus on taking a little bit more check it up on yourself to get yourself into a better place where you can move on a pathway that's gonna take you to a place where you can actually deal with your PTSD. Because if you're just stacking that stuff in and you're like, hey, now I'm just surviving to eat and sleep, but I can't sleep because I got PTSD, so I drink or I do drugs or I do whatever else it is that's causing you to stay away from dealing with that at hand. It's great to get involved in that. So it's always great to hear Mike too.
Yeah, it's good to hear you too, Aaron. We as people, we see and we know what's going on. We have a society in America here, and I see the underbelly starting to boil. The underbelly's the poor folk. The underbelly's the disenfranchised on the side of the mountain. They are all tired of the lie. We are all tired of the lie, the cheat, the food being poisoned, the everything poisoned. It doesn't matter where we go, what we say, we're all wrong. No. The thing is you are right, and your feelings and your pain and your stress is real. And those issues and those demons within you are winnable. It's whether or not you want to see the drive within yourself. And that might think that you can't find it, but you're speaking to a man who had nothing left in himself, nothing left. And now I'm in a fat house, 60 acres of land. I'm chilling, buddy. I'm chilling. I'm building my business brick and mortar. I've ran out of money already, and I'm smiling at the problem. You got to smile at this shit, because the more they want to give you, the more problems you have. That means you're doing something legitimately righteous.
And Mike, let's just cover it real quick, and we'll cap it off however you want. But in my reflection, with Mike came in, and I had to gain a sense of trust before I brought him into everything that I'm aware of. Before I got him involved with everything else, he was a place where he needed help, to the point where he went through a lot of different phases, to the point where he was helping veterans out, even beyond my scope of help. Actually living with one, helping him out every day in, day out, helping this guy just turn his life around. A Navy vet, really incredible situation that I witnessed. And then to the point where the post-traumatic growth kept going with Mike, to the point where he's like, hey, you know what, I got to get out of California, I got to do something else. He went on a journey. One of our other combat buddies followed him down, helped him out in Texas, got on a Mac flight. It's a cool adventure. I mean, when I think about this story, and there's a lot of pieces I can't always remember, but as I'm telling the story, I start remembering some of these things. He went down to Texas, helped Mike out with his mom and stuff, and got that. And Mike couldn't stay with his mom, got still dealing with some stuff. Went to Camp Hope for a couple of days, tried that out. It wasn't for him, but at the same time, Camp Hope is for so many. Michael, it may not be for him, but Mike has all gotten a lot of help from the outpour of PTSD Foundation of America, Warrior Build Foundation, and so many others. Operation Silver Star. I mean,
sometimes it's timing. We as people just need to pay attention. If you're the person trying to help, you might be the enabler, thinking you're helping, and then you might be the opposite and making the matter worse. A lot of these situations, and especially my story, I share it because here's a guy who went to war. I was born and raised to fight. My father was one of the frozen chosen. He was the only guy I know that really made it out of his platoon alive, not maimed. He was the medic, so that's probably the only reason why he made it. Everybody would throw themselves on him, and but when it comes down to it, I myself, and every little struggle I've had, I used to let it get to me, and I still do. The other day, I cost myself $3,000 messing up my lawnmower, then my chainsaw, then this, then that. Shit, couldn't even find a cigarette to get rid of the stress. But here I was clinging to things I shouldn't cling to. Here I was noticing that I probably should have just called it quits when that chainsaw chain busted off. Hey, maybe today nature's against me. We as men and women, we try to push nature away and run our own little worlds, but we aren't God, and we cannot get away with that. And nature will prevail over us. So we need to work hard on ourselves constantly. And I hope my story and other stories like mine can get to another person. It took many people to spark me. It wasn't one conversation. It was so much work. I'm a legit person to say that I should probably have been in prison, not out here on this podcast, but due to Warrior Build, PTSD Foundation, and many others, they stood in my corner and they said, nah, man, maybe you're confused. Nah, man, maybe this is a better way. And then they would get on my level. The same way you get down on your hands and your knees and you play with a little kid is the same way you should talk to an adult. Get in their level, see what they're doing, know what they like, learn them. And that's what the Warrior Build Foundation it makes them different and greater than most organizations. And I've started currently out here. We're going to be launching, starts next week, fishing trips. So any individuals, please email Aaron if you want to get involved with the fishing trips out here underneath the Warrior Build Foundation. It's a one individual trip. Take you out on a boat for free, no cost to you. All fishing supplies are supplied for you. All you need is your fishing license. Sorry, I can't afford your $35 a year. But if you looked at the gas prices, maybe you understand how much a boat eats. So we're long, little to no funding. So we're doing everything ourselves. And that's because I had to create a Warrior Build out here because it ain't out here. So I'm doing this and carrying that torch forward. You know, if you want to lead, if you want to ever scream out, follow me, you better be willing to trip and fall in front of your men. And you better be willing to get back up. If you're not, then you're the fool.
Good stuff. Hey, I'm gonna have you do final thoughts in a minute, Mike, and how people can get a hold of you. Obviously, you just kind of briefed all that, but hey, I just want to put out that, you know, in watching Mike do this process, to include this last incident where he his chainsaw, his lawnmower, riding lawnmower gearbox had a problem, some other issue. You know what he did? He called me. He said, "Hey, you know what? I got to call a vet back." And use the battle buddy process. And I really, at the time, I thought he was just calling me to tell me this, you know, because Mike sometimes gets fired up about a lot of things. But at the end, he's like, "Hey, man, thanks a lot for having this conversation so I could calm down." So in my view, I was just talking to a buddy, and this is what I do all the time. But in the back, you know, Mike's mind, you know, he obviously referenced the fact that he needed to calm down, and this was a way to do it. So sometimes you're the guy that needs that, and sometimes you're the guy that's helping guys that need that. And that includes me. I mean, I'm not always the stout guy that's always ready to handle in every situation. I often call Mike, I'll vent to him. I mean, I have my battle buddies that I refer to that calm me down, but these are resources that I'm using so my PTSD does not get the best of me. And I always have battle buddies in mind. I have this podcast. I have Warrior Group on Tuesdays. I have so many things that I'm involved in, helping others along. But ultimately, this is me being selfish, sitting in here having this conversation, giving this information because it's therapeutic effect for me overall. And I often tell everybody I talk to in group, be selfish. This is your time. So sometimes you need to be the knife, and sometimes you need to be the handle. So, and both are very important in the job. But you know, it's an incredible thing. Hey, last thoughts, Mike. Thanks a lot, and care for one another. Be good to one another, and try to do the best you can with each other and yourself.
Yeah, just you know, we're going to be setting up a different way to communicate, get a hold of me, and everything else here. But communicate through Aaron if you need to get a hold of me, because I'm currently way too busy on my own. I've had too many things happen recently, too many projects I've taken on. I'm trying to provide 10,000 meals in the next 2 years via meat for people. So I'm trying to develop my land into a viable farm. I'm also building a business at the same time and raising a little girl and a little boy. So I'm busy. But other than that, you guys wake up to the surroundings and the people around you. Start to steer those that you can in a more positive direction. You know, it is extremely cliche, all this good talk, right? But it is real. I could take you to a coal mine cave, and I can take you deep down in there, and you will see darkness prevails. That's right, darkness prevails. But then I will turn on the tiniest little light, and that light will push the darkness back, and you will see. So it only takes the smallest of action to begin your change. Allow that change within you to start. If you hold back, you lose. If you let it out, you win.
Good stuff, Mike. Great stuff. Great show. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for getting together with me and making this happen.
See you, buddy.
As always. Hey, we'll see more of you in the future. Hey, you know, I totally ran out of time. Didn't have my time for the PSA. The PSA always coming from the VA. The VA has a lot of programs. Whether you like the VA or not, they have a lot of really great programs. Check them out. See which ones might work for you, and get yourself involved in that. As well as, you know, hit this podcast up for different reasons. Whether it's you know, showing you some scope on, hey, I need to maybe look at this one because I can relate to it, or it has some sort of resignation with you. It has some sort of feeling that you need to kind of cope with. I don't know if that is the case, but I hope that's what this podcast is about. It's also there to educate the public and give our platform to those that need to kind of tell their story and get it out there. But hey, this is Aaron Siebert, retired Navy chief, lucky to be alive after being hit with a mortar round in April 2006. Signing off. Strength and honor. Out.
The only way, and we need nothing more. The only way, together forever, that's for sure.